Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Folasade Aladeniyi Isiolaotan. That was my maiden name when I was in St. Anne's School, Molete. Uh, St. Anne's School, Molete Badon is one school that, if you ever attended it, you cannot forget it. Why? This is a school that is marking its 150, if I'm right, about 155 years anniversary this year. Um, and so somehow I've been lucky to be part of the most recent evolution of the Alumni Association. It's a privilege, which I thank God for. When we were going to really form the big Alumni Association, I served as the secretary of that committee. The Ibadan branch of the Old Girls Association has been a very wonderful branch that has held sort of taking care of taking responsibility for the formation of our alumni association. And I was also privileged to be secretary of that particular committee as well, when we were just mooting the idea of really going out to have a formal alumni association of St. Anne's School, Molete Badon. I remember very well one issue that cropped up was the name we should take, we should have, or we should bear. Names are very important, and it was quite a took a lot of debate, a long debate before we debated it for so long before we could actually arrive at the name that we now bear, which is Seminary St. Anne's Old Girls Association. Why this seminary? Because me, even I was very young, probably the youngest on that committee then. If I was the youngest on that committee of that brought to bear the alumni association, and we had very eminent members on that group. The chair of that committee was Mrs. Fuke Adekoya, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. So many other people, very eminent old girls that it was a privilege for me to meet and to be to be serving them. Really speaking, I enjoyed serving every bit of the time I spent on that committee because the chair of that committee is a very demanding person. When it comes to work, you just have to be on your toes, and so I learned part of what I gained from being on that committee then was to be up and doing. You cannot afford to be asked a question as secretary of the committee and you will not know and you won't be able to give the right answer. So I want to thank all the members of that committee. And one other thing that I also learned then was that look, you really don't have to be physically present to achieve a lot. I'm not sure that committee met anytime physically, but we're able to put together the constitution, we're able to put together so many things that brought about our alumni association. We had many of our members in the diaspora everywhere in the world, and yet we're meeting promptly. And every time we had to meet, we would allow people who are sleeping to wake up for us to be able to have meetings and things like that. So that I learned that when there's unity of purpose, there's nothing the mind of human beings cannot achieve. So I want to thank the people on that committee who brought the alumni association to be in place. And well, even before then, we have one wonderful grandma who is synonymous with St. Anne's Old Girls, very synonymous with St. Anne's Old Girls. And so, if please let me remember her name now, Mama Akikoye. We see her, you have seen St. Anne's Old Girls everywhere. She was projecting our name, projecting our school, even before the Alumni Association came to be. So we at 186 set, we are celebrating our um, Ruby Jubilee, 40 years of living school. Is not is a milestone. Is a milestone that we should be grateful to God for. And as a result, I want to thank the Lord for keeping all of us. Some of us girls have actually passed on. A few of us have passed on, but for most of majority of us are still here on earth, and so we are grateful to God for keeping us all these years. It's not just keeping us, God has made us to have landmarks achievements. We've had people who have become professors, people who have become judges, people who have so many things, clergy, name them, captains of industries and things like that. And when it comes to the main association itself, Sasoga, my set cannot, it's not a set, it's not a pushover set. We've had when the alumni association was when we turned 150, two of our girls, two of my friends were penned down and honored as girls ambassadors of St. Lance. So, and one of them, the two of them are Professor Kumbi Kumbi Ofisayo, and then Mrs. Dupe. Let me remember her married name now. If I remember, I call her Dupe Chike, Dupe Kupoli, but that's not her real name now. I'm sorry if I can't remember. Adedeji, that's her married name now. Usually, the names we used to call ourselves in school are stuck into my own brain. And so when I see my friends, it takes me time to remember their married names. So Dupe Kuponi Adedeji. So those two girls were honored in our 50th during our 150th anniversary. And Professor Okunbi Awofisayo, um, what's her married name now? Now became a member of the executive committee right after our 150th anniversary, the first set of our of our executive committee. And me, your good self that I'm talking, I became the secretary of the um, electoral committee, and I've served in that capacity for 2 times or 3 times until I said, well, I think some other people should take up position of the secretary of that executive committee. I want to thank our very first national president, Mrs. Um, I will remember her name. She actually did a lot to transform the Alumni Association. Really, she is a good ambassador of the Old Girls Association. She puts in everything, her best, in terms of effort, in terms of time, in terms of finances, resources, everything she put into it to transform what we now have, what we are all proud of to have as our alumni association. I remember it was a time that many of the new buildings sprang up in school. Many laudable projects were done, and so many things that when you get to dance today, you see all these things where the direct effort of the first executive committee, led by, I'm trying to remember her name now, by that our president then. So I want to thank God that my set, we are celebrating our 40th anniversary on the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd of May 2026. Will be 40 years of our living school. You remember those days, you do school start in May, June. So it's not July, August or something. So actually, we're actually celebrating 40 years of living school in May. That was about the time we left school. So, and um, our class coordinator, Chief Mrs. Munisola Sholanke Adeleke, has been wonderful. I will not also congratulate her. I also want to remember our two past coordinators in the persons of Mrs. Funke Olawale Akinpelu and Mrs. Ronke Jinodu. Um, I remember Ronke's first surname now. I remember it. Ronke Jinodu. The first those were the first two sets of coordinators we had, and they too laid very solid foundation for our set to continue being together. And so when you have leaders who are practical or pragmatic, the institution will continue even if they are not there. And so that was what this set of people did for us. And the current class coordinator is a third class coordinator that we have. And we started meeting together 10 years ago, 2016. Before then, we had a mini reunion that brought together those of us girls living in Ibadan and in Lagos. I remember that day when we got St. Dance, it was so wonderful. It was as if we were meeting in heaven. And come and see the joys and the screams and everything. I remember seeing, I haven't seen many of my friends before then. I've not come across so many of them like that before that time in 2015. So I can imagine what this year's anniversary is going to look like, celebrating 40 years, that many of us will be coming in from everywhere in the world, all over the world. So I'm looking forward to mingling, interacting, socializing, and also building capacity with my friends. The program for the anniversary, because I'm also privileged to be a member of the planning committee. The chair of that committee is Mrs. Ronke Jinadu, ably supported by the executive committees of all the branches. It's 186 sets of class of centers as three major branches. We have the Nigerian branch, we have the UK and Ireland branch, and then we have the US Canada branch. And these three branches have we all work together to make sure that our set moves. We keep contributing, keep giving back to the school that we all loved. Not just the school, we have been a source of help to one another as well. I remember many of us girls are great philanthropists. We want to can we mention all that Chief Olayinka Latiwo has done for many of us as friends without even raising any ears, or even Chief Munisola Shola and Adeleke, or even other people who do not want to be mentioned, that they're just, silent givers and everything. I know that for this anniversary, we have had anonymous donations of 1 million, 1.5 million, that you don't even know the girls who are giving this money. They don't want their names to be mentioned. So, and that is how my classmates have been a source of help and encouragement to ourselves. If you only need to say what you need, you only need to let the exco know about your problem. Before you know it, they're already attending to whatever may be the issue or the difficulty you are having, maybe as an individual or as family or anything. So my class set has been a wonderful class that we are there together, united by the school that has brought us together, by the school that we also loved. And well, when we came together, since we came together, my class has always given back to the school. It's 186 set has always given back to the school. We are a set that cannot really, when we cannot be pushed over. Even the National Sasuga recognizes my set as a set that should be reckoned with. And when we first came together, our very first legacy project was to renovate part of our quadrangle where we spent our Form 1. Then we used to have Form 1 to 5, not GS1 to SS3 now. We had Form 1s to 5. And our Form 1 was a very memorable place for us. It's the quadrangle. It was one round set of classrooms like this. And when we got there, I said, what are we going to do for this school that we all love so much? And I said, let's try and work on our Form 1 building. And so we put resources together. That project was coordinated by no other person than our able welfare secretary from the Nigerian branch, um, doing doing Abbas. She's always on ground. Anything we want to do as a class set, doing is always there to carry it, to make sure that we accomplish whatever I want to accomplish as a set. So I want to thank Doyin, who has always been there on ground for us. I want to thank Muni Okay, yes, I call her Caroline, Sisi Caro, Munisola, Caroline Okay. These two people are with me as well, because the three of us actually form the main thing in the Nigerian branch. Our other sisters in Lagos have always been very wonderful, but because they are not in Ibadan, they cannot go to school when we go to school. We are here in Ibadan, so we always carry out assignments on behalf of my set for any assignment we want to do. Anything my son wants to do in St. Last, the three of us are always there to make sure that it works. And then some other people have started joining us as well. And I want to thank my Nigerian branch, which comprises for now of Lagos, Ibadan, Shogomosho, Ife, anywhere in Nigeria that we have that Nigerian branch. And for the past 10 years, I've been privileged to lead that Nigerian branch, just as other coordinators in other branches have led their branches for the past 10 years as well. So it's been a thing of joy for us to be coming together to celebrate our 40 years of living in school. I can't wait to see my friends. Like I said, there's no time we don't give back to the school we love. Every Children's Day, we are there. It's 1868. There was time we did exercise books. There was a year we did underwears for the girls. There was a year, and we did lockers and everything, tables and chairs and everything. And then even my set even maintains some of the toilets in the school. We pay a cleaner to maintain a set of the toilets in the school. So these are some individual efforts that can be attributed to my set. And then my set as well, my members of my set have always also participated in the National Alumni Association. I remember Professor Kumbi Awofisayo, what's her husband's name now? He actually served as vice president uh, Sasoga National. She's also back as a third vice president of Sasoga. Um, we also have another person representing us at the national executive now. She's a Mrs. Caroline Munisola Oke, who is the national treasurer. When Sasoga was formed, I was privileged to be the secretary of the electoral body committee of Sasoga. And I think I was there for 3 times until I said somebody else should come in and do. And then I had very wonderful time working with the people in that committee as well. Very senior old girls. I remember the chair of that committee is a retired justice who lives in far away in Imo State. When we had a reunion, one of the reunions, she came to Ibadan with packs of crayfish for all the members of the committee. Those are the things, the kind of things you enjoy when you belong to St. Anne's. There's no way you get to just mention that you went there, you see somebody that has gone to St. Anne's. And it's always a thing of joy to, to associate with your old girls. And I remember a few weeks ago, I was in the High Court at Abeokuta. One younger lawyer was sitting beside me, and I saw the way she was, you know, handling her case. And then after I asked, I said, which school did you go to? I don't know why I asked her, just which school did you go to? Now said St. Anne's. I said, hey, oh, up school, up school, up school. And she was so joy, she was overjoyed to see me, to see an old girl. That is the kind of joy we have when you see members of your school, whether you are older than them or you are younger than them. Once you are an old girl, something that school, that name, St. Anne's binds us together, and it's as if you are family. In fact, it's family. So I want to congratulate us once again. The planning committee has put together a wonderful programs for these 3 days of our coming together as class or as set of 8186. On Friday, we'll have a seminar, we have get together, we go around to showcase ourselves. And over the year, on Saturday, which is the full day, we are going to have a luncheon. We're also going to have mini walks. And then on Sunday, we'll go to church for Thanksgiving. Then we have lunch thereafter. And over the years, God has been very wonderful to my set as well. We've had people who have occupied very, very, very laudable positions in the committee, I mean, the affairs of this nation, and wherever we find ourselves, we've always represented the school that we love so well, so much. We've always represented that school well because our name is very important to us. We don't want to be mentioned with which school did that person go to and say she went to St. Anne's. No, St. Anne's girls are known to be firebrand. In fact, the current DG of Nigerian Law School is an old girl. It will surprise you that Professor Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala is an old girl of St. Anne's. We have so many of them like that, so many people like that, that you just start wondering, how did this school brought about these great people. I want to thank our first alumni president, Mrs. Similola. I can't remember her some name now. She did so well for the school. She did wonderfully well. Without her effort, without her input, we don't have this kind of admirable alumni association that we have now. In terms of everything, effort, time, resources, she was relentless. She went all out to make sure that the alumni association becomes what it is today. I want to thank the current national president also, who is doing her best to make sure that she builds the girls when it comes to capacity building in terms of education and things like that. So I want to thank members of the executive committee of 81, 86 sets. We always meet. We are not in the same place, but we're always meeting. So thank you so much. It's been wonderful talking about the school I love so much, or the school we love so much. St. Anne's, St. Anne's, no, falls here for behind, proud of our name, the way out to its fame. But by true service to God and mankind, St. Anne's, St. Anne's.